What a world, you now listening to Talka Brothas podcast.
Welcome to the Talka Brothas podcast.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Talka Brothas podcast.
Talka Brothas.
Talka Brothas.
Talka Brothas podcast with Smash and Go D.
Go D and Smash, you guys doing your thing.
The mic is contacted, I attract clientele.
My brothers.
Go D and Smash, Talka Brothas.
That's poppin'.
We ain't worried about nothing.
Y'all are now listening to Talka Brothas podcast.
What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Go D.
And this your boy Smash coming in.
I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Talka Brothas podcast. Smash, usually we take the guests out and then we bring the guests back in. But because we love Monice so much, you know, she's just part of the game. So, you know, she's here with us. You know, her and I have been paying schedule tag for about 3 or 4 weeks here, you know. So I will definitely want to thank her.
Family, she come in the house, she got up on drink.
Yeah. But she's been on for the listeners and the viewers, she's been on the previous episodes with us. And if you don't know who she is, what we talked about in the previous episode, you know, feel free. I would go back and listen to the episode. Monice Williams, she's a screenwriter, producer, director, podcaster, just all around jack of all trades. So how are you, Monice? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm glad you finally got your life together so we can do this conversation.
It was trust me, it was all me. It was all me. I said, you know what, I'm about to lose a friend messing around. Keep reneging on scheduling. This was all me. So
yeah, no, it's good to be here. I'm glad to see you guys and talk to you guys.
Right. So funny thing is, last time we talked, it was the beginning of the pandemic, and now we're somewhere in it. I don't know if it's the middle where we get to the end. We're just somewhere there. How has things been since the last time we talked through this pandemic?
Well, you know, I think like everybody else, I was just hoping it would end soon, and it hasn't. And what I did, you know, is my nature to just keep working, you know, in the midst of things. And so I just put my head down and just kept working. And then I looked up and I was just totally exhausted. And I had to really just give myself a break, you know, for a minute. I was able to go back home to help take care of my mom for a while. So I kind of dropped out of all this craziness for 4 months. And being back in Detroit, it's like being on a whole nother planet. So I couldn't have been any further removed from Hollywood, being in the D. And being in your mama's house and sleeping in your same bedroom that you slept as a child, it just totally makes you reflect on your whole life choices and what you're trying to do.
Some good, some bad, huh?
Exactly. Because your mom and them don't care about whatever you've done.
You still, Monice, you ain't all hot.
You still got to do them dishes. You still got to take out the garbage, you know.
Dishes.
So it was good being back because it helped me to.
Right.
No, can't do none of that. So it was good. I was able to be there for her. It was a blessing that, you know, my life is fluid enough that I can drop out of it and just have my laptop and still be working, but not be in Hollywerid.
Hollywerid.
And then I came back home, and you know, slowly I'm starting to get back. I feel like it's been about 3 months now since I've been back, so I'm starting to slowly get back into the rhythm of things. But you know, I look at this whole thing as it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I would hope it would have. It could have. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Right. That's a whole other podcast episode right there.
Yeah.
Right.
So now, you know, I'm just like, I look at this sort of like the act 2 of the pandemic. Right. You know, as a screenwriter, act 2 is the longest act in the screenplay. And you just have to, you know, you have all these barriers and obstacles and all this type of stuff being thrown at you, and then you think you're good, and then like 60 pages in, a whole nother story comes in. That's what this is. A whole nother storyline shows up in Act 2, like on page 60. You're like, what the hell? You know, so that's kind of what this is.
Time for a rewrite.
You know, somebody needs to hire me so I can rewrite this pandemic. I'm over it.
So since we there, how is it? When we talked about it earlier, it was like we had ideas on how the industry would navigate this. So now we've had a year under our belt. I can't believe I'm saying a year in this mess. A year under our belt.
Right.
How do you think Hollywood has adjusted, and what do you think is the future going forward?
At first, Hollywood took a knee because they didn't know what to do like the rest of the world, but then they quickly pivoted to figuring out that, humans are addicted to stories. We need them stories. Right. So they got to find a way to get them stories in the veins of the people. And they were able to figure out how to, use PPE, smaller sets, smaller stories, smaller crew. Slowly they were able to do that. And now I think they've figured out, now this is going to be going on for a very long time. So let's just get back into groove of making movies. Right. Not the big budgeted ones. I don't think we'll see the superhero big budget movies for a while because that just is too many people. It's too expensive. But I think maybe this is a good time for someone like me who writes smaller, intimate stories to get this stuff done. And so I'm starting to see people being more attracted to what I like to write because that's the only thing they can do right now. Right.
But I when you say that, and I'm waiting for what's it called, Black Widow, that was supposed to be released in November, which is a big budget film, which is Scarlett Johansson, which is a Marvel.
Oh, okay.
And I want to see how that comes off. It's supposed to be released in May, so I want to see if that actually plays itself into the into theaters, because now since we're there at theaters, let me ask you, LA theaters are opening up 100%. We were probably at like 50-60% across the country, so LA is one of those. LA is Hollywood, so how you think those, with them theaters opening up, how do you think that's going to go across, and how big of an impact you think that's going to play in the movie industry?
I think that there are some movies that still are better in theaters. Those big budgeted action, sci-fi that you just got to see on a big screen. Mm-hmm. So I think that Hollywerid is going to keep making those movies. And then they'll become more like tentpole, big, what am I trying to say? Events. Like back in the day when Star Wars came out, that was a huge situation. It was huge because no one ever seen it before, first of all. But it was such a different thing. And I think now it's going to become more special when movies are in theaters because, first of all, you're putting people's lives at risk. I don't care what people say about it being safe. You're not going to go into a theater unless this is something like, I got to see it on the screen. Right. The other 90% of stuff, I think, can still be shown on Netflix and Hulu and things like that. But they're going to be very more strategic about the big pictures that they make that they only have theatrical releases for, because it's going to be even more of a risk to see if people will come out to see those.
And I like what HBO Max has done through this process. So they releasing what they would normally release into the theaters. They're releasing both ways. They're releasing on demand and they're releasing in theaters. So however you want to experience it, you have that option to experience it. I don't know how cost effective it is for them to do this, but for me as a viewer and a consumer, I love it, because at this point I don't think I will step back into a movie theater until they say coast is clear. Because that's one of the nastiest places on earth, is the movie theater. Oh,
it is. It's horrible. Those armrests and the chairs and the floor is sticky as hell. It's just nastiness. I agree. Like, you're making a real choice when you go into the theater. You gotta pay for parking, then you gotta get the popcorn. You spend $90 on all that stuff, and then you sit down and the seat got bubble gum in it, and it's just like, why am I here? Yes. And I agree. I think they're gonna be doing a combination of both. And then for like the real super, super, super special movies, it'll only be in theaters. And that's going to be something that they're going to be very confident in, that's going to make the money back. Because we have shown, the consumers have shown that we like watching movies on our
Yes.
couch in our pajamas
Yes.
and having our own popcorn and stuff. We like that.
Yes.
And on our phones and things like that. So,
And
I don't think it's
especially now too, because now I think people that were drawn to the theaters that only wanted to experience those things in theaters, they were forced to have to watch it this type of way. I think they're come to be pulled them over and out. Oh, this is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, I think also the Academy and other places like that are starting to recognize and celebrate movies that come on streaming services. They're
Right.
getting awards. So now you're going to get more and more filmmakers who are anti, streaming services making movies just for, Netflix and Hulu and all this type of stuff. Like, it doesn't have to go into theaters. Like certain people like Martin Scorsese, the old school folks, they ain't gonna never let it go.
Right.
But everybody else is like, I'm cool. We can just make this movie to be shown on Hulu because you get a bigger audience that
Right.
way.
And it gives you another avenue to share your creativity with the world versus just being in theaters. Because now, I have always grown up as a kid. We went to the movies and it was always mama bring the big purse with the chicken and the drinks and all that kind of stuff in there. And I hated that, right? So when I got to be an adult, I was like, you know what? We going to movies. I don't care how much it costs. We're going to get the popcorn. We're going to do the whole experience. I don't care how much it costs. So, but now, and I look forward to that. That was an expense that I didn't care about paying. But now I'm realizing, man, we go see a movie once a month. Think how much money we just saved on.
Yeah. I can't remember the last movie I actually saw in the theaters. I don't remember. I can't remember what it was, because even before the pandemic, my husband and I weren't going to the movies regularly because it just costs too much. It's ridiculous. And then it's like, if you see a movie on streaming service and it's just you don't feel like you've been cheated, right? It's like I didn't lose too much. But if you spend all that money to go to a theater and it's just you like, nah, man, that was I've been hoodwinked.
Right. Now that you say that, one of those movies that I was like, man, I'm glad I missed this. Now I love Denzel's son. I love him to death. But it had I went to the movie theaters, and I'd have got sucked into this, right? Had I went to the movie theater to see Tenet, I'd have been mad. I'd have been real mad. So I'm with you on that. This is definitely one of them times you like, whoo, I missed the bullet on that one.
I'm Team Denzel now.
I am too.
But I hear what you're saying. That was one of them slow moving movies, and it wasn't the way it was advertised, and it didn't give you what you thought you were going to go see. And so I agree about that. Denzel has done some movies that's but you're right. They were right to have that. That was HBO Max, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was the son. And I love the way his son's career has been he's been navigating his career. He's been doing a lot of good work. So I just felt with the writer who wrote the movie and the director, everybody was in place to make, like, you had all the pieces. You had the all-star team ready to play, and it's like they canceled the game and just put reruns on. That's what it was like,
Oh, you're right. That was John David. I was thinking of Denzel did a movie recently with everybody was Academy Award winners. What movie was that?
The same one.
He played the cop.
It was on Max too, wasn't it?
It was on Max.
Yes, exactly. That's the one I was thinking of.
And that fell short too. So
what was the name of it?
I don't know.
They're probably at dinner right now, like, son, we got to get our stuff together, son. We missed the mark with the last two.
And those were all Oscar winners, I think. Wasn't everybody Oscar nominated and Oscar winners? You can have an all-star team and not necessarily always pull off like the best movie.
Right.
And then you can have just nobodies that no one knows, and it's amazing. So it's just what I do is totally magic. You hope that you can control it and capture it in the bottle and everything like that, but it really is a lot of luck and just faith and hope. Like I hope this is I write the screenplay and I'm like, I hope that we get a good director. I pray we get good actors. I hope that the costume design is good, because there's so many ways for it to go wrong.
Right. Before. And for you coming from the writing aspect of it all, you may see something on paper that it's like brilliant. This is like a masterpiece to me. And then somebody else read it and it's like, well, I didn't think of that. You know, does that make you go into it and make you like rewrite it a little bit, or you stick to your guns and like, you know what, damn it, I see it, I'm gonna make you see it too.
Yeah, no, you just got it. It's so subjective. Like, I've had so many projects that someone just tore apart with notes, and then someone else read like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever.
Right.
And as a writer, you're just like, okay, is everybody schizo, or what's really happening here? Because you got to stick to your guns as a writer. Like, if I feel this, then prayerfully somebody else would feel it. And I would rather go down on the sword for something that I feel and believe than to drive myself crazy trying to please everybody, because that's never going to work either. Right. So you really don't have a choice to, but follow your own heart and your path. And it's difficult because when someone rejects your screenplay or your writing, you take it personally because like, well, that's me.
That's my baby. I created
I put everything I had into that story, and you don't like it.
Right? You just cut me down the sides. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Exactly. What's wrong with you? My mama loves it.
I like everything.
I'm still I'm pushing SACT. I'm not giving up on SACT. I'm even looking at international producers to get this made.
So since we there, let's get to SACT. Where are we with SACT?
I am still pushing this mountain up the hill, bro. I'm trying to get it to the right people who get it in the right family, the folks who get it, who love it, that, don't want to change it, that want to do it the way I, envisioned it, and are willing to take a chance on a writer with no name. That's really what it is, And so, we've been pushing it in a lot of different areas. And we just haven't found we've had like 3 close calls. We haven't found the right home, the right fit for it yet.
But it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not giving up on it because this is just a story that I totally believe in. And I know it's fun and people want to see it because this is the thing. If you were the studio head, this would be done.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone that I pitch it to that are just consumers and fans are like, oh my God, I love the movie. Where is it? But getting to the executives to get them to take the chance, that's where the disconnect is happening.
I think they're missing the genius of it all because right now we're in a phenomenon with GoFundMe right now. You have the chick that went to the All-Star game that got stranded. She had a GoFundMe. So I think they're missing the boat. But here's the biggest question, Smash and Monice. Here's the biggest question. Are we being written into this thing? Because I envision Smash and I breaking the news about this GoFundMe.
I like it. That's very meta, very meta. I'm down for it.
I like that. That was good.
See how I pitched that, Smash?
Yeah, he was real smooth the way he pivoted that thing, wasn't he?
Yeah, he pitched it pretty good.
Nah, but I'm excited about this, and I can't wait.
Like that.
And this is like one of those projects where you watching it. Like I'm watching this thing. I'm watching to see what happens. I'm watching the Instagram. I'm watching the different posts that you're making. And it's like your baby's my baby too. Like I'm the proud uncle right now. Can't wait to see it.
I can't wait. I'm so excited about it making the screen. And I mean, have you seen the Snickers bars?
Yes.
With the SACT on it?
With the SACT on it, yes.
Man, I bought all them Snickers bars out the grocery store. I wrote about it with all them bars.
You bought all of them?
Exactly. I'm like, if this ain't God, I don't know what is.
Right.
Like, the NFL is already promoting it. It's like, come on, people, let's do this.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And I meant to ask you that. I was like, okay, so she's really on her marketing game, but it was just on a humbug. You went to the grocery store and found these Snickers.
Exactly. Me and my husband were at the store. You asked him if he was asleep. He's awake now, but he likes to go shopping at 10 o'clock at night. Okay.
It's when COVID low.
Well, no, he was doing that before COVID, but he was shopping at 10 o'clock at night before COVID. So every now and again, because he always asks, you want to go? And I'm like, dude, I'm in my pajamas. Who goes shopping at 10:30 at night? But this particular night, I went. And so he's over there getting whatever he needs to get. And I'm just wandering around, and I saw them on the candy display. And I'm like, And he comes running. You okay? You okay? Look. And I said, do you have any more of these? I'll buy them all. And she was like, okay. So it wasn't marketing on my part. It just happened to be a serendipitous situation. And I was just like, this makes a lot of sense. Like, this is already in the ethos, you know?
And I felt some kind of way. I wanted to hold a sack snicker ball and get my picture taken too.
Well, if you find them next time, I told everybody I know. I was like, take a picture with it.
But now that I know the story, because I thought you had that customly made. I didn't know that.
No, that's part of the. It was a marketing campaign the NFL had. They had other different terminology on Snickers bars.
Right.
I forget what the other ones were because I just saw sack. They had other ones, and I think they've been doing it for the last 2 or 3 years. So it comes out every Super Bowl, situation. That's when it comes out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Smash. You got anything for Monice? We've been talking like you're not even here, bro. It's like you. The red-headed stepchild.
No, man. Hey, I'm in the conversation.
The bearded stepchild.
Now I'm just I just like the way you was going. You know, you should get right us into that episode of SAT. Where we interview somebody on the show or something.
I want to break the news.
If you need some creative writing, just let us know.
Oh, for sure.
I want to break the news.
Hey, but have you ever thought about because I see a lot like these new, I guess I call them internet comedians, they always doing these skits and everything. Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought about just getting some of them to act some of your stuff out?
I've been following a lot of them for something like that particularly. Yeah, I want to because SAC is about an internet campaign. It made sense to me to find people who are hot on the internet. So I've been following a lot of these people, and I want to populate them in my script, in my movie whenever it gets made. I don't know if they'll be, leads or whatever, but I think it'd be great that if the audience sees their favorite YouTuber or favorite IG person, then and also they will promote it. That's the other thing. Right. Because now they're in a movie.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna promote it to their base. Right. So I thought about that. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They promote it hard,
Yes. Yeah. Somebody just needs to get on the good foot. I got all the marketing planned. Let's do this.
It's already there, right? Well, got the dream. We just need the financials to help us propel this dream.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you now, it's going to happen. I'm claiming it right here on Talka Brothas podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. So let's get into the nitty gritty of what we really came here for. And that's to discuss, which I thought was a phenomenal piece of work. Smash thought it was, Monice loved it. And for the listeners, we waited. This movie has been released, I guess, a month ago or so, and I didn't want to talk about it with nobody but Monice. And we could have did this episode months ago, but I waited. Like, you know what? I'm gonna keep waiting until I can get her opinion on this. Because Smash kept asking, "Are we gonna talk about it?" Nope, not till I get Monice on. Nope, not gonna tell Monice on. So that movie we're discussing here is One Night in Miami. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you take it away before Grumpy Grouch give us his opinion on it.
Well, no, I want to hear your thoughts first. Tell me how, because I saw that you liked my post. First of all, you're always one of the first people to love my post, so I appreciate you, bro. What did you get from it as a black man? Hello?
Talking to me or Goldie?
Talking to you.
I'm not talking to you, Grumpy. I'm talking to Goldie.
Oh, talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Smash.
No. We let Grumpy talk later.
My first opinion was, I thought it was, we talked about it off wax a little bit. I thought it was a true story. Like, it was based on a true story. And so I went into it, and the main thing for me was, whether it was Sam Cooke, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, regardless of who those characters are, that's how we talk as black men. If you got close friends, that's how Smash and I talk. When I made pivotal decisions, congrats to Smash. I got to say it on wax for you with your retirement. when I was pivoting away from the military and they were making a career of it, that conversation, we had that conversation. Bro, are you sure this is what you want to do? What are your life goals? What are your life plans? So that's the main thing that resonated to me with the movie. Then the fact that it was at that pivotal moment that launched Sam Cooke's awareness, you know, Jim Brown into movies, Ali into being more religious with being a Muslim, you know, Malcolm X just being Malcolm X, trying to understand, do FOI love me? Do they don't love me? Where's my position of, okay, now I'm propelling myself into my own Muslim, I don't know what you call it, faction group, but I don't know what you call it. But that's what played on me the most. And just to see these black actors, a group of black actors, which we rarely get to see on screen, to actually do this was phenomenal to me. And then to learn that what I thought happened really didn't happen. It was the events happened, but how he told the story of what he thought actually happened that night, because it's all taboo of actually what happened that night. It's genius to me. I thought it was, I thought personally that it should win every award that there is out there. That's how much I love this movie.
All right, I want to hear what Smash got to say before I chime in. I would love to let the brother speak. Let the brother speak.
Nah, I thought it was a good movie. You know, I like that Regina King was behind it, and I think she did a phenomenal job. I just wasn't like overly impressed. Like I was like, it is cool if they got together and they did that and discuss it. But like for movie wise, there was really no action in it for me. Like it was just like these guys sitting down, but they really weren't talking about nothing. They were, to me, like they were talking about what was important at that time and how they are, you know, each other are big in the aspects of what they did. They were the prime time during that time. But to me, it's just like that. Like it wasn't like, oh man, I would love, if it really happened, I'd love to be a fly on that wall. But to be in there, to watch it on screen, it wasn't a lot of action to me. Like I would have liked to see, I mean, I guess what I would like to see from that movie is it branch off. Like show me Cassius Clay's upbringing now. Show me Sam Cooke, you know, Malcolm X. Start different shows with them, because them coming into that one room, like it was okay, but like I thought it was a good movie, but I didn't think it would win any awards. I didn't think it should win any awards.
Shame on you.
Maybe besides, you know, Regina King.
Shame on
Regina
you.
King with her directing or producing, you know. But I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a good movie. It just had no action to me. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you take away them burning his house down, which stuff, you know, we already kind of know, there was really no action in there. I think it could have been built up on a little bit more to make it the awards type that Derek or Godee want to happen. So I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
No.
I thought it was a good movie. Don't get me wrong. But...
No. I'm not hating on you, boo. I understand.
I'm hating on him. I'm hating on him enough for both of us.
No, don't hate on your brother, bro. Don't hate on him. For me, I mean, that's why I wanted.
Watch how she set me straight, though.
Well, yeah, she gonna set you straight.
No, I'm not. That's why I wanted to hear both of y'all. Because, first of all, Regina King, my girl crush. Okay, that's like, oh my God, I want to work with her at some point doing anything. Okay, so let me get that out the way. Right. Secondly, it was adapted from a play. So I've heard this a lot from people who say they want more action and everything like that. But the original script was just a retelling from the play, so there wasn't really, you know, any action to be shown. If they had adapted it into like the actual movie form, they would have done everything you just said, Smash. But they really just recorded it like it was on the stage. So a lot of people are like, oh, ain't nothing happening. And also, I think I loved it for what Godee said as far as like hearing black men talk. Because as a black woman, I don't usually get to hear brothers talk, except when I had my hair short and I would go to the barbershop. My hair was as short as Smash's a long time ago. And I would be in the barbershop listening to the brothers talk.
Like,
and
oh my God.
After a while, they would forget that I was there. And they would just start talking about real stuff, you know? So for me, it was like, oh my God, this is great. to see these black men talk. But the reason why it's probably going to get some type of shine awards is because of who the figures were. It wasn't just 4 random black dudes, right? And that really was his imagination, to your point, though, of like what they had been talking about.
Right.
You know, I don't know if, you know, it did happen, but was it that deep of a conversation? Who knows?
Because
who knows what was really going on?
They said at the same hotel at certain point in the night, Muhammad Ali went to sleep. Right?
The only person who know the truth is Jim Brown. Jim Brown ain't talking. He ain't talking.
He ain't saying anything. So, and that's the beauty of it all for the writer to. And I really want to give him his credit. I can't remember his name. I want to say Kemp. I can't remember his name.
He's the same guy that did Soul.
Right.
Did you guys see the animation Soul? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now,
so
Soul was good. Soul was good.
Had action for you, right?
It was good. It was good. You gotta give it, you know.
It had enough.
It had enough. It was animated. It was cool. I mean, another movie that is gonna get a lot of awards, and at least Chadwick will, is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Did you guys see that?
Yes. Ma Rainey's Black. I watched it.
Okay, now what did you think of that?
Nah, I didn't see that one yet.
I'm like smash on that. It was good. It was a good watch. It was a good watch for me. But it didn't. Most of the time, for me to really feel something from a movie, I'm like kind of like smash on certain things, explosions and, you know, cliffhangers and betrayal and, you know, hitting agendas. And if it's something like One Night in Miami or that movie, it's like, okay, it didn't impact me.
Right, because in One Night in Miami, you had Malcolm X and Jim Brown and Cassius Clay. I mean, you had these figures that are historical heroes. Right. Whereas Ma Rainey is pretty much like a forgotten figure. And it's also a play, because other people are like, what? Where is this going? There's nothing happening. It's just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. But for me, it was slow, but because I knew it was a play, I said, I'm just gonna sit here. Like, we talked about Queen Sugar a little bit before we got on. Like, you just have to sit there and just be there. Right. Like, just be there. And the gem will come out. And the gem that came out for me was Chadwick Boseman. And I called it. As soon as he had his pivotal monologue, I was like, he's gonna win an Oscar. Right. It's done. He's gonna win an Oscar. Because he went places with that monologue, especially now knowing what he was going through at the time, and nobody knew what he was going through. And I was like, he's not in character anymore. This is him.
See, I gotta go back and watch it again now.
You gotta go back and see that scene where his character is mad at God. Right. Look at the conversation that character is having with God. And I'm like, that is not a character talking to God. That is him. Chadwick Boseman. Yep.
Well, see, now Smash.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Now Smash, that makes it. I had to go back and watch it tonight.
Now I gotta put that on my list.
But be prepared to sit there for a minute, because there's a lot of talking.
It's a lot of talking. It took me a few days to finish it. I was at work, and I don't know if I should say that, but
I told you he don't do
one moment in my time.
Tommy.
And watch
you ain't got no job, Tommy.
I can't wait to say that, Smash. I will wear that with a badge of honor. Everybody can't be like you. Every day's Friday. Don't have shaving is optional for you now. So
that's wild.
That's one end of the spectrum. I think we all have an appreciation for that movie. Now this is when Smash and I flip hats.
Okay.
And that's coming to America. And I think we flip hats seamlessly on this one. He enjoyed it, and I thought it was ho-hum. Well, first of all, let me give a disclosure. I don't believe in remaking classics. Now, you can remake anything else, but once we put that classic title on it, I think it should be a law forbidding you to remake it. But if you do have to remake it, make it in the vein of what it is. Don't try to adapt it to something different. You know, don't make it a drama turn into a musical, a drama turn into a comedy. Just, you know, keep it as is. And I'll let Smash go first, so you can tell me your thoughts and ideas on this before I give my profound thoughts on this great piece of work.
I thought it was a good movie. I'm not saying it was phenomenal or will be a classic, but it was what it was. It was a good movie. And the way we watched it was so I could get my kids to know what it was all about. We watched Coming to America and then rolled into Coming to America 2. So that they could see how it builds. And having that fresh on your mind, like going right back to back, it did help. Because me and my wife, when the Coming to America started too, when it started, we were like, we gotta see how they're gonna tie this in because that's gonna kill it. And the way they tied it in made sense because nobody knows what happened the rest of that night. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think people were looking for it to be an instant classic, but just like Godie is saying, you can't remake a classic. It wasn't supposed to be an instant classic. It was just supposed to be a movie. And to me, like they were just closing off part 2 because for so long, everybody asked for a part 2. And now 30 years later, they give you one. Now everybody it wasn't good. Well, hey, y'all got what you asked for. So I thought it was a good movie. Plus, I like that type of stupid comedy anyway. So it was funny to me, So it was almost like a rom-com, just like the first one.
No, it wasn't.
So what's your problem, Godie? What's wrong with you? Why are you hating?
I'm not. Listen, it was. We did the same thing Smash did. We sat down, made a big evening out of it, right?
Oh, okay.
We put the first one on, and me and my wife sitting there. The kids had never seen it, right? So me and my wife sitting there just quoting quotables, laughing like it's nobody's business, and the kids looking at us like, "It's good, Mom and Daddy, but it's really not that good, right?" Yeah. And then they got to see the second one and see how it all tied in. That's what we did the same thing, but because it was such a sacred piece of art. Not
the Old Testament, man.
taking it biblical around here. I love the fact that you had all these great actors in there that we hadn't seen Wesley Snipes, right? Yeah. In my mind, I never pictured Wesley to do this. And Wesley, I know you watch Talka Brothas podcast or you either listen to Talka Brothas podcast. So I was like, why? But then he came on the interview and he said, man, listen, they choreographed, they choreographed all that stuff. I just showed up. I was like, my man, I'm gonna do this job, but you ain't gonna have me shucking and jiving like you really want to be shucking and jiving. So I give him a pass for that one. But before I heard that conversation, I was like, why, Wesley? Because that's not how I picture you. That's not how I see you as an actor.
But that's you, though. That's your stuff.
That's my own personal opinion, right? But
I mean, Wesley was hilarious. He was funny. I'm sorry.
So
go ahead, Smash.
So let me interject on this with Wesley, because I've heard a lot of people talk about the shucking and jiving. I'm like, dude, first of all, it's a comedy. Second of all, if y'all gonna try to sit here and say what he did in that was shucking and jiving, let's go back to 2 whatever that name, 2 Wong Fu, that movie when he dressed up as a lady. Oh. Nobody got a problem with that.
Had I had a podcast when that movie dropped, you know my feelings about men dressing as women. Now let's not go there. That's for a whole nother episode about men dressing as women to get themselves out on camera.
Right.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother genre movie, right there.
Yeah, that's a whole, But the other thing that I thought was the product placements. All these product placements. The Pepsi commercial in the middle of the movie. I got my Pepsi. I just thought, yes, it's funny in the vein of the way the movie was made, but I just didn't think it was tasteful for it to be. I know you got to pay the bills, but you could have just left the Pepsi can just sit there, or when they showed the Target sign in front of the museum or whatever it was, it was just certain things. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing the movie. It was highly enjoyable. I enjoyed what it was, but I just didn't think. I just for my own fault, I guess I kind of tried to compare it to. I wanted the same thing from the previous version. That's what I would say. And I was let down on that.
It was not going to give you that.
No.
Ever. I mean, this is the thing. Like, I personally think, well, two things before I go into this. Wesley Snipes was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
He was funny in Dolomite. My name is we can talk about that movie. He was funny in that as well. But also, I think there should be a time limit, a statute of limitations on remakes of movies or continuation of movies. Like 30 years is just too long.
The guys in the barbershop were still living.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been. But that's not the point.
I want their health regimen. That's what I want.
Yeah, they should have been, like 20 years should be the limit. Like if you don't get this done in 20, and I know they've been trying to do this for a long time.
Yes.
So, but I'm like 20 years should be the cutoff point, because it's like 30 years is just structurally, story-wise, it's just too many things you got to explain away that people have to forget about. But
Right.
also, the thing about movies and any piece of art, really, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists for the time. Now, when Coming to America came out, for us, it was amazing, right?
Yes.
You have to think about that time. Eddie Murphy was on top. He was doing everything. We didn't really have any, this is before Kevin Hart, before Chris Rock. There was nobody else doing comedy like Eddie Murphy,
Right.
right? So for the movie to come out during that time, of course, it was an instant classic. And it was a different story deal too, because it was a simpler story. It was just about a prince coming to Queens trying to find his bride. And the rest of the time, the other 90% of the movie was Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy doing characters. That was it. That was the movie. This movie had a different time.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to deal with feminism. You have to deal with Africa. I mean, Black Panther's been out at this point. So, you know, you got to look at it differently from that lens. And then to bring all these characters back, the beloved characters, like to your point, like the barbershop guys who should have been long dead. Okay. I think the timing is different. Like your kids aren't going to view it the same way as we did, because they have so many options to choose from.
Right.
This was like a cinema desert when we came out. When Coming to America came out, it was like, oh my God. It was like Purple Rain. It's like, oh my God, it's amazing. But now they're like, well, I can watch this and I can watch that and I can watch this. It's not this event for them. So Black Panther probably was an event for them because it was a worldwide phenomenon. But I don't see even Black Panther 2 getting the same status as Black Panther 1 did.
Right.
So nothing exists in a bubble. So I'm all for these conversations. People like, you shouldn't be slamming, Coming to America because Black people came together working. I'm like, okay, look. It's a movie, people. It's a movie. It's subjective.
Right.
You can like it or not like it. It doesn't mean that you ain't Black or that you hate Black people because you didn't like the movie. It's fine. But I also found that sometimes we're harder on our own stuff.
Right.
Than we are on other people. We give them a pass.
And that's where people wear that on me. Yeah. Like the white cinema, you all for it. Now here we got some Black cinema and you just downing it. No, for me, good is good, bad is bad, great is great. I categorize it with blinders on. It had nothing to do with color. Yes, I'm glad to see Eddie Murphy, James Earl Jones, Wesley Snipes, Kiki Lane. I thought she played a phenomenal role. She should be as much as graceful as she was on the camera in that movie. I think she should be cast in the next Black Panther. That's how much of that character she played in that movie. And I thought she should have been the queen going to Queens looking for her king. That's what these level things like the spinoff. He slept with Lisa Jones and here's this. That's way far-fetched. I don't never thought.
It was a reach. But I personally didn't even remember that part. I was like, what? I didn't know.
It never happened.
I forgot about that.
That part never happened. That's something that they wrote in.
Oh, but they went to the club though, because the twins came back to perform at the end. So
but that never happened.
Yeah, they went to the club.
That's okay. They created that new part with Lisa Jones, so they can get this son to continue on the story, which I thought it was already seamless. You already had kids, right? You have the beautiful Kiki Lane. She should have been in the forefront of this movie. Don't get me wrong. I love Jermaine Fowler. I love him to death. I love his work, especially on ABC with the Donut Shop. I can't remember the name of the show. I loved him on that. I love his character. I love his acting. But for this story, I thought the torch should have, when we're trying to uplift women, especially our Black women, I thought they missed the boat on passing the torch to a female and letting her shine, because she was graceful in this movie. Tiana Taylor, her scene was phenomenal. Even, what's the brother name? What's his name? Michael Blackson. I loved his scene. That was like picture perfect. It was made, so it had its moments, but
I think they made a choice. I'm sure, I can only imagine how many scripts they turned down and whatever. But I think, like, if you're going to do not necessarily a remake or continuation, I think we can look at the Rocky series, right?
Oh.
I'm a Rocky fan. I love Rocky. I've seen all of them 10 times.
Right.
But when they flipped it and it turned to Creed and brought in Michael B. Jordan, I said, that's how you remake a movie series.
I agree with that.
You bring new energy to it, a different perspective to it. So I think that would have been a great idea. Kiki Lane had gone to Queens to find her prince. That would have been dope.
Right.
But would it have been the number one movie in America?
It still would have been. It still would have been, because it has it has, just like any musician or actor, once you get that status, if you miss the boat, it doesn't matter, because they're gonna go see it anyway because of who you are and what you are. And you put Coming to America 2 on it, we all watched anyway. It wasn't, we all were intrigued about what it was going to be. And it's just, it's one last movie that I hope that they don't touch, and I don't even know if I should share it. And I think Will Smith and Kevin Hart are trying to remake this Uptown Saturday Night. Please don't let this happen. But
that's been on the books for a while. I don't know.
I hope that never happens, because Go ahead, Smash.
What do you think about them? What do you think about them remaking Trading Places? Because that was shown in, I think that was shown in Coming to America 2 as well, or it might have just been the first part of Coming.
They took the characters. Remember, they showed.
Would you want to see that remake?
Yeah.
They showed the two white guys
who worked for the
Randall and
Mortimer. They showed them in the flashbacks were perfect. How they flashed back and took elements from the old movie, inserted them into the new movie. Oh, that was great. But as a totality of the whole thing, it didn't hit home for me. That's just. Trading Places, I'm not as tied to Trading Places for any movies. Brewster's Million, if you want to remake Brewster's Million.
But wasn't that a remake anyway? Wasn't Brewster's Million a remake? Why do I keep seeing Richard Pryor in it before?
Well, Richard Pryor is in Brewster's
Yeah, Richard Pryor did.
But I'm saying, if you want to make something like that, Eddie Murphy movies, it's just, I don't want to see...
I'm just going to speak up as a screenwriter. I need them to make an original movie written by me.
Right.
And there's so many original stories that we could tell,
I agree.
And I think we end up, and people end up being unsatisfied with them because they don't live up to the original, right? And I see why they do it, because Coming to America, doing it over again, they got all of us to watch it, right? And now you have this new generation that are aware of it, who may watch it again, possibly. I don't know. But it makes sense why they do it financially. But story-wise, I'm like, come on, can we try something new? Like, I don't think they should ever do Purple Rain over. Was Purple Rain a great movie? No, it was not. But again, for the time, it was amazing for its time. But if you were just looking at it structurally, you're like, this ain't
all over the place.
This is not that great of a film, but don't touch it. I know all the lines, I know all the songs, leave it alone. And don't mess with the whiz, leave that alone.
And I think that's where you hit the nail on the head. There's so many great writers out here. There's so many great content creators that I think Hollywood has gotten lazy to the point where we don't want to read as many scripts anymore. We want to just be able to reach out and take something that's already established franchise and rework it. Your example with Creed, I love the fact that I love Rocky, and it got mundane, right? And so Creed gave it its freshness. We took the character from the show and we branched it off, and now let's tell this story. It's like the way Marvels and DC does their stuff. We'll have this big entity, and then we'll break off and talk about the origins of this or different things like that. Be creative, and I think that's where we lost. And I'm totally agree with you. The next great movie is Sack,
Yeah, I
people.
agree.
So go ahead, fund this thing and let it be known.
Yes.
Your point, Smash?
So I was gonna ask because I don't know how that works anyway, because there are a lot of shows and movies that I think get produced that, like, if I had to spend my money on it, they would have never made it the light of day. So I don't. Who reads these scripts? Is it just like interns that they hire? Or,
Well, they do have like interns, they have executives, they have story editors and people like that, the gatekeepers who, read the script ahead of time and then decide if it's worth, if this is going to maintain their job, and they pass it on. It's very rare that they would take a script that they would take a chance on. It's hard because making these movies is super expensive. There's no guarantee you're going to get any money back. There's no guarantee anybody's going to show up to watch it at all. So I get how they want to hedge their bets and have something that already has a fan base and a history behind it, so people will follow it. Just go, like, we all have those artists and those movies, like you said. Like, if we just hit a name, I'm just gonna go buy it. I'm not even gonna worry about what it's about. I'm not gonna see, like, people hear Star Wars, like, I'm there. That's it. I'm just gonna check it out. And they don't even really know what the story is. So brand name is important, but I wish that Hollywerid would find a way to balance it out. Like, can we do like 60-40, 70-30, like 70-30, like remakes and 30% originals instead of 90-10?
Right.
Because that's what it is. Right now, it's only 10% of original movies and stories are being made.
I never looked at it like that.
Yeah, I think
Really?
if they could balance it out, it's only 10% of the stuff that you're seeing is based on some original idea. Most of it is based on either a book, a comic book, a podcast, an article, or something. It's based on something first to validate it. It's very hard for an original screenwriter, like myself, to get stuff made because it doesn't have anything behind it. So they try to hedge their bets by finding a good director or get amazing stars or something like that, so people will be able. But this is the thing that always freaks me out and upsets me, is that the average person is not checking for who wrote it. Most people don't even look at the writer on the credits. They're not even looking at that.
It didn't dawn on me until you said that. And I'm thinking about the shows that I watch, and at the bottom of the screen, it always says adapted from XYZ novel. And I was like, okay, she is right. So it's not that. What I'm thinking is original content. It's not even original content.
No, it's adapted from somewhere. And I'm adapting. I have something on BET Plus right now that I adapted from a novel, and I'm adapting more projects. And the reason why I write novels is so that I can adapt them to the screen. So they already have an audience. Right. So I can say I have a fan base of people who have read this book or read my children's book. And they're like, okay, well, that's something. You have a social media presence. That's something. You got to do so much more to get the attention and make the bean counters feel comfortable to take a chance on you. Because it's really just about the money. And like, if we're going to make money back from this, like, it's cool what you're thinking, but how can you guarantee that we would make our money back?
Right.
And it's really hard to do that with original content. Like you guys, your podcast could be a movie, could be a TV series, because you have established a fan base. You have not essays. You have episodes that people can go to.
Right.
You have established yourselves as the host of this. So it's like those brothers on HBO. I think they started as a podcast too. And now they have a TV show. You know what I'm talking about?
On Showtime. Yeah.
Oh,
on Showtime. Yeah. They started as podcasters, and so did the two sisters.
They're on HBO.
They're on HBO.
Yeah.
Right. Started as a podcast.
Yep.
And now they're both branching off into TV and film. So people just want to know, like, do people like you and know you already? Like, are you coming out of nowhere?
Right.
So that's why I try to be as strategic with my placement of things.
Right.
So that people can see, like, if they type my name on the internet, they're like, oh, okay, she does this, she does that, and the other. And it used to be, they would say pick a lane. But the way this world works now, you have to have some type of presence so that people can buy into you.
Right.
And I wish it was just about the story. I wish it was, because that's what I would really just like to do, write stories all day in my pajamas. But that's just not how this works.
I'll be a writing fool. I have that done. Next. This easy.
Nah, that makes sense, because I see that Hollywood sticks to a formula, and me and Godee talk about it all the time. That's the police or the EMS shows, medical shows, lawyer shows. All those have been around. You start like with St. Elsewhere all the way to Grey's Anatomy.
Yep.
You got LA Law to SVU now, like Blue Bloods and NYPD Blue back in the day, Hill Street Blues, like all that stuff is. They've all just
see where that gray come from, boy.
That time that we're in.
You going back?
I can go back even further because I'm a TV head. So we ain't gonna even talk about this in San Francisco, Colombo. Come on now, we can go back further.
Colombo.
The one. What's the other one? Rockford Files.
Yep. Keep going.
Rockford Files. Yep.
Yeah, but
what was it? Heart to Heart.
Heart to
Oh,
Heart.
Heart to Heart. That was my jam.
I love that one too. I love that one. That was a guilty pleasure of mine as a kid. I don't lie.
Hollyweerd just, has its own particular way of doing things that doesn't necessarily make sense all the time. Like there's also another story that just came out in the New York Times that says that Hollyweerd is losing $10 billion a year because they are not funding Black, Latino movies and Asian movies. The lack of diversity in Hollyweerd is making them lose money, yet they still don't fund our projects.
Right.
Now, if that is not the definition of insanity, I don't know what is.
Who wants to leave $10 million on the table, right?
10 billion.
I mean, 10 billion. Who wants to leave that on the table?
Billion. Well, because it buys into the narrative of that, African American stories and other stories do not sell well overseas, and that's not true when the rest of the world is black and brown.
Right.
So this is the narrative that as a Black woman screenwriter that I deal with all the time, trying to make sense of these two things that are separate. Like I just said, Hollywood has the ability to put the hot minority in their movies and their shows, but at the same time they'll say, well, this movie just has all Black people in it. Right. And I'm like, yeah, but we're like all over the world. So why is this a problem?
This makes no sense to me.
That's true.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think...
$10 billion.
I'm glad for the Tyler Perrys. I'm glad for Here You Go Smash. I'm giving Oprah some props. I'm glad for Oprah Winfrey and her own network. I think it's a matter of here's my new mantra for 2021, that we have to stop asking for inclusion and just get out there and start doing our own. Like SAC, I think is phenomenal, right? So why wouldn't I want to see a Tyler Perry fund this thing, or Oprah Winfrey fund this thing, or somebody who's amassingly rich in abundance to see the brilliance in this piece of work and want to fund it? Doesn't have to be. Why do we have to keep beating the wall on the white Hollywood to get something made when there's so many millionaires and billionaires across the world right now, in a time of America when we never had so many millionaires and billionaires, right? To be able to get these type of projects working, where we just rely on the remakes and pissing me off because I hate those. But it tends to, you're looking at it on two different spectrums. Like if Hollywood's okay with this losing $10 billion, is this like when you do your books? Is that 10 billion like the light bill, the overhead? We just paying overhead, 10 billion overhead. Keep moving. Is that what it's like? So I don't know. But we're getting long in this hour. Monice, give us some hidden gems here. What's on the horizon for you right now?
What I got going on is I'm still I'm pushing SAC. I'm not giving up on SAC. I'm even looking at international producers to get this made. Like I'm not waiting around. I'm trying all angles to get this made. Awesome. I'm also working on a TV pilot that I thought I was done with, but I've been reworking it, and hopefully I can get that made as well. And I have a couple of projects that I've been brought on as a writer to tap into the Afro-Latina market as well. So I'm thinking beyond national. I'm thinking international because I know that our stories are stories that the whole world wants. And if you just believe the narrative of what Hollywerid is telling you, then, you know, like I said, you'd be contemplating life choices. Like, why am I doing this? You got to go where the love is, and you got to think outside the box sometimes. So I'm thinking more like that to get these projects made.
Awesome. So where can the people find you?
Man,
They can find me on the Insta like you did, on Twitter, on Facebook. My website, MoniceMitchellSims.com, has exclusive content that I'm posting online all the time. And LinkedIn too. You know, LinkedIn, now people be sleeping on LinkedIn. You can get connected to people on LinkedIn, so they can find me there as well.
Awesome. So my brother Smash, the bearded one. Any closing words, my brother?
Monice, thanks for coming on. We always appreciate your we're gonna have to make you our what is it, like entertainment TV or movie entertainment correspondent is what they call it.
Yes, I love it.
Trying to sound professional, but but now
title still being
appreciate
the
you
works.
coming on, and I'm hoping much success to you. I like the way that you said, you know, go international, because a lot of people don't think like that. They think that one track, I got to go Hollyweerd, as we're gonna call it, Hollyweerd, but not international. And a lot of times, international is a good way to go because it could get popping over there, and then they want to bring it over here. So we over here at Talka Brothas, we are definitely wishing you much success, and especially when we get into the story as well. So we'll be there to support you on that one too.
That's right.
Either way, because I'm excited. I'm a sports.
You got our support.
I'm a sports movie junkie, so that's why I'm like, we haven't had a real good sports movie in a long time. Here's something that's really great. Come on, people, fund this thing. Let's get this thing going. You know, so. Thank you, Monice. So with that being said, much love, and we out.
All right, brothers.
Peace.